and 5,000 meters. We'll concentrate on the metric mile. For now, China can wait. This is the Adidas Track Classic. Welcome, everybody, to the Home Depot Center on the campus of Cal State Dominguez Hills in Carson, California. It's the second stop on the Visa Championship Series, the 2008 Adidas Track Classic. It's the first stop on the series where they actually can score points. It is hot. 87 degrees. It's 187 degrees. And the wind, west-southwest, 10 miles an hour. It will swirl in the face and at the back of our sprinters, jumpers, and throwers. Hello, everyone. Dwight Stones along with Larry Rawson and Lewis Johnson. And we go right down to the track for our first event, the men's 400-meter hurdles. The meet record held by Vershawn Batman Jackson, the world champion in 2005 and the best in the 2008 season. Clement, who will be running the 400 meters later today. And there is Batman starting out in lane 5, Larry.
He is, Dwight. He's got the second fastest time, only to Clement earlier this year that he achieved at the Kansas relays. And I talked to him. I said, "You ready?" He said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm healthy. Everything is good." Well, his legs are his Batmobile. Let's see how fast it takes him to get one lap around this track.
Down in lane 3, Derrick Williams, who finished 7th at the World Championships in Osaka last year, so he does have some international championship experience.
He does. Coming out of Central State in Ohio, last year was his breakthrough years. He earned one of the 3 berths on the World Championship team that went to Osaka, and he's trying to obviously earn a berth here among the 3 that goes to the Olympic Games.
And that will be a tough team to make in the U.S. 400-meter hurdling, a specialty, as well as 110-meter hurdles. This is how they will line up. Vershawn Jackson will be in 5. Derrick Williams on his inside. Also watch for Michael Tinsley, a very talented young man. Speaking of which, we may be glimpsing the future in lane 1. 17-year-old Reggie Wyatt. Maybe lane one's not his favorite lane, but he does get a chance to run. He won't be 18 until September. Has run 50-10 already as a 17-year-old.
And, you know, actually did that last year, Dwight, as a sophomore, and he hadn't quite turned 17 at the time. He's out of La Sierra High School in Riverside, California. Got the height for just a 17-year-old. And keep an eye on him if you like to watch it in the future. He will run from lane 1 up against the best Americans.
Derrick Williams moving down to Florida to coach with, or be coached by Lance Brahman, who's Tyson Gay's coach and Wallace Spearman's former coach. But the Batman, really the problem with him is his technique down the straightaway. He keeps crashing the 10th or 9th hurdle, and it takes him out of the race.
That's true, and he struggled with that. That took him out of the Olympic trials last year as he wound up being 4th as he crashed late in the race. Didn't fall, but he got tangled up in one of the hurdles. Williams, who you're looking at in your picture there, was the top high school, actually the national scholastic champion in the 110-meter hurdles and the 400-meter hurdles out of Glen Oak High School in Ohio in 2001.
It's a little hold up here, perhaps with the timing, as they're now calling them to their blocks.
10 hurdles, 36 inches high, 3 feet exactly. Everything is timing. You try and continue to put your steps down. As fatigue sets in, they wind up late in the race taking 2 extra steps between the hurdles so that their lead leg is still the same hurdle leg that they've been using pretty much all the time.
I mentioned Clement has the best time in the world in 2008. We are going to see him in the 400 meters. Of course, he is the world indoor record holder at that distance, but he says he loves the 400 hurdles. He is the reigning world champion in that event, but he's trying to improve his 400-meter expertise as well.
In lane 6, Adam Kunkel from Canada in there, their best. He's the Canadian record holder, and he also was a finalist in the World Championships last year.
So still trying to get themselves settled. There's some problems out in lane 9 with Ben Clark with his blocks.
I've never seen that before. This is a very knowledgeable crowd. It's thin here as people want to stay home maybe with the heat that we're expecting at 118 degrees in the sun.
Let's go now to Lewis Johnson.
Well, guys, just as the starter was bringing the athletes up to the set position, out there in lane 9, Ben Clark was having a problem with his blocks. So he waved, which is exactly what he was supposed to do. And one of the people on the block crew ran out there with a new set of blocks. And I guess that's why you have multiple sets of eyes out here to make sure that no one gets left in or without a block. White.
All right, Lewis. Well, Ben Clark running by himself, of course, out there in lane 9 for much of the race because he won't have anybody in front of him. But at least now he gets a chance to start with everybody else. Only seems fair.
You know, most of the athletes that compete in this event are like 6 feet, 6'1", 6'2", even. Big, tall, powerful, rangy guys. If you like to root for the underdog, Vershawn Jackson's only 5'8".
So Wyatt, Erickson, Williams, Tinsley, Jackson, Kunkel, Johnson, Griffiths, and Clark. And as usual, Batman out fast in the middle of the track.
I said to him yesterday, how are you going to run your race? He said, I'm going to go out hard. I'm going to float, he said, in the third 100 and then bring it home strongly. Let's see what he can do. You're right, Dwight. He's got an easy lead by about 3 steps.
Well, he's chopped his step a little bit before that 5th hurdle. He's still having a little bit of pattern problems. Now he seems to be back in his rhythm. Batman's still well out in front of everybody as he then chops again at hurdle number 7.
Good over 8.
And that is Kyle Erickson from former UCLA Bruin in 2, but it is Vershawn Jackson all the way as he comes up to the 10th, chops again, and has a tough one. And Erickson, down goes Erickson in lane 2. It is Batman, and then, in lane 6, it looks like it might have been, or 7, Brandon Johnson getting up for the 2nd place, but that was all Vershawn Jackson from gun to tape.
Well, this is a race about a pattern. The same thing for the 110-meter hurdles is you'll talk to Alan Johnson, the great hurdler. He'll say it's about steps. It's about putting it down. Let's watch these athletes. They count their steps. Many will even try 11 over a barrier. 13 is consistently done. Now watch him. He's smooth in here. Again, another smooth hurdle transition. You sense with about 3 steps before the hurdle, maybe 4. Am I too close? Am I not too close? Do I have to mince my steps? But he's got everybody in control right now of this race. Here he is coming down the home stretch using his arms. Late in the race, notice everybody pumping hard to lift the upper torso of the body to help gather and gain a couple of hundredths of a second.
But that 10th hurdle still his nemesis as he clipped it with his trail leg. Tough effort, 48.94, and he won easily over Brandon Johnson and Michael Tinsley. So we are off, and the high school kid got 6th, by the way. We'll be back with a lot more when you return to Carson. The Adidas Track Classic is brought to you by Adidas. Impossible is nothing. By Nutrilite, the exclusive vitamin, mineral, and supplement brand of the 2008 Adidas Track Classic. And by Visa, proud sponsor of the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games. Life takes Visa. Welcome back to Carson for more of our coverage of the 2008 Adidas Track Classic here at the Home Depot Center. Hello, everyone. I'm Dwight Stones, along with Larry Ross and, of course, Lewis Johnson down on the infield. And I think that everybody knows this is an Olympic year, right? Presidential election, leap year, Olympic year.
Absolutely.
And the U.S. is a sprinting nation, and the U.S. is blessed with 2 of the best sprinters in the world on each the men's and the women's side. Tyson Gay, Allyson Felix, unbelievable world championships last summer. Looking forward to a big time in Beijing.
Dwight, we have a fabulous meet on tap. Also in the distance races in the field events as well. Let's take a look at the 100-meter dash, and who best on the men's side but Tyson Gay. Why? The 100-meter, 200-meter world champion in Osaka last year. The dominant man was voted the top male track and field athlete in the world last year. He goes in his first 100 meters. Allyson Felix in the 200 meters dominated at the World Championships, winning by over a half a second, and she has the fastest 100-meter time in the world this year. She leads a stellar women's field, one of the best ever.
And for the first time in who knows how long, the U.S. has a great middle distance runner, 5,000 and 1,500-meter world champion Bernard Lagat.
And Bernard Lagat did those 2 championship races in Osaka in heat and tough weather. In the 5,000 meters, he ran his last mile of the 3.1-mile 5,000-meter distance in 4 minutes and 2 seconds. Unbelievable stuff. Then he dropped down to the 1,500 meters later and winds up running in that race his last 800 meters, 1 minute and 50 seconds. Nobody in the world has his kicker speed.
And speaking of 1,500 meters, we are ready now for the women's 1,500 meters. She did the meet record, 2,000 best, and the 2,000 U.S. best. The 4:07, by the way, the A standard for the U.S. to get into the Olympic Games. Here is the field. Janelle Dethridge, Kristen Worth-Thomas, one to look at. She was very good indoors. Shannon Robury also running well this outdoor season. Sarah Hall, her husband Ryan, already on the U.S. Olympic team in the marathon, and Carrie Tollefson making a comeback after making the team in 2004.
Dwight, we've gotten better and better over the last few years in the 1,500 meters. The world also performing well, but we're getting more depth in it, and this has got a good indication here in this field.
Well, this is far from ideal 1,500-meter running weather. It's a little bit breezy. It's also very hot, and on the track, you could probably add another 20 degrees with this Mondo surface. Remember, the 2005 and 6 national championships were on this facility here at the Home Depot Center.
You know, the amazing thing here is having a little Willard Scott in me, both in the hair department and also as a weather fan. The average temperature in Los Angeles, Long Beach area, usually at this time of the year, 71 degrees, and it's going to be in the 90s today, so pretty amazing stuff.
And in the history of the time we've done this meet, it has usually been pretty pleasant, albeit a little bit on the breezy side, but we've had a little bit of a heat wave this last few days in the LA area.
Pace very solid. Rabbits doing their jobs out there.
Corrine Hines is the designated rabbit from Jamaica, and then Sarah Hall right behind her, but not so close behind her. Obviously, they're not following the pace being set.
Dwight, the tough thing that goes on, and now is the time the athletes are thinking about it. May and June, U.S. Nationals coming up the last week, which is the Olympic trials. The last week of June is you've got to get the Olympic A standard, if at all possible, of 4 minutes and 7 seconds for the 1,500-meter distance. We talked with many of these athletes in the last couple of days, and they're all focused on trying to get under 4:07. So they want a fast pace, and they've got to stay close to the rabbit. 61.8 seconds, very fast for the pacemaker out there.
Well, I can tell you about chasing an A standard for the Olympic Games. It consumes you until you get it. It changes your training. It makes you peak earlier than you want to. Then maybe you don't have enough time to come back down and prepare for the trials. It really is something you want out of the way as quickly as possible.
Very stressful. That is Shannon Roberry in second place, and she is perhaps the leading American at this moment. Kristen Worth Thomas is in third.
And methinks Corrine Hines is doing a great job bringing them through the pace at which they would like to go, but very few willing to follow. And again, we cannot stress enough how very, very hot it is up here where we are above the track, but also down on the track for these athletes. The sprinters are going to love it, but the athletes running probably over 400 meters, not so much.
And there they come up to the, coming up now to the 800-meter split. Let me correct that. 209 was the split for that, and that is right on target. That is a very solid split for them, but we'll see if we can get 2 or 3 of the athletes to get under that.
Well, right now, Shannon Roberry, the only one that really is staying with the pace set by Corrine Hines, and the rest of the athletes stringing out behind her. And off goes the rabbit. She is gone. Shannon Roberry now followed a long way back, maybe 8 or 9 meters by Kristen Worth Thomas.
Roberry's training well out in the lead, has gone extremely well this year. She is coached by John Cook, who's had great success with distance runners. Among them, Shalane Flanagan, and she and Flanagan went to Mexico, did Roberry, and trained down at their Mexico's high altitude center up over 8,000 feet of elevation. And she feels she's fit and healthy, and if she's been training with Shalane Flanagan, she might wind up being the top American this year in the 1,500 meters the way she's running. She has a 4:07 and a fraction time, 4:07.59 seconds, just outside the 4:07 automatic A qualifier you need to be considered for the Olympics.
Well, she is clearly going for it here. She wants this thing nailed down in the middle of May so she can then focus her training for the Olympic trials, and she is right on pace, pushing it all the way with 150 meters remaining.
It's going to be a very solid time for her. 3:14 through the 1,200 meters for Shannon Roberry, the NCAA champion indoors back in 2007 in the mile. Out part of last year with a stress fracture, but healthy and running very well this indoor and outdoor season.
It is going to be Roberry, and she does appear to be very close to and easily getting that standard.
4:01.5 seconds. Terrific stuff. One of the finest performances in years by an American.
And Kristen Worth Thomas, I believe, finished close enough that she is also very likely under that 4:07A standard.
Well, so, all that staying healthy and that good training and her speed, this young lady in high school, coming out of Sacred Heart High School up in the San Francisco, California area in high school, was the national champion at that distance, showing her raw speed. Great 800-meter runners often make great milers and 1,500-meter runners, and she has shown the speed.
Here's Roberry coming home, and we can confirm for you, Kristen Worth Thomas under 4:05, so she also garners that 4:07 Olympic A standard. So a very, very profitable run around the track, 3 3/4 time, and a great pacing And Lewis Johnson is down on the infield with the winner.
With a happy winner. Shannon's got the big smile. So tell me about coming out here today, trying to get that Olympic A standard.
I raced 2 weeks ago at Stanford, and I just missed it by 0.59, and it was so bittersweet because it was a big PR, but just to miss the time is so hard. So came out here, I knew they were awesome competition. They would have a rabbit, the weather would be great. A little bit hot, but good, and I just, decided early on, it's my, I have to take charge of it. If someone goes, I'll go with them. If not, I need to go, so.
All right, well, congratulations. Enjoy the flowers, the banner, and the win, Shannon.
Yeah.
All right, Dwight.
And, go she did, Lewis. That's the fastest time by an American woman at 1,500 meters in 6 years.
And the number 5 American performance ever for the ex-Duke star. 2 Americans with an A standard here at the Adidas Track Classic. Coming up next, Allyson Felix, the new Golden Girl. Can she dominate in the 100 the way she has in the 200? Stay with us and you'll find out. And we are back in Carson, California for more of our coverage of the Visa Championship Series, the 2008 Adidas Track Classic. And just moments ago, they had a race to determine the fastest girl in LA. And you are not going to believe the irony when you find out who won this race. In the middle of the track, or down on lane 1, an 8-year-old Lauren Williams, the fastest girl in LA. And who is her favorite track and field athlete?
Lauren Williams.
It's a little bit different spelling, but and what a coincidence. We're getting ready now for the fastest woman perhaps in the world. And I will tell you that this race, as we look at the meet record held by Torri Edwards from last year, Allyson Felix, of course, the fastest time in the world this year. This race has 7 of the top 10 ranked sprinters in the world last year and 5 of the 8 World Championship finalists, including the top 4 finishers. And this is how they finished. And look at Lauren Williams, who was the defending champion and just missed out on about a 5-minute photo. It was exciting in Osaka.
It was very competitive. It was nerve-wracking. At the end, I think I won the race, but I wasn't for sure because it was such a close finish. The 5 minutes of waiting was just nerve-wracking, just nervous, standing there hoping that I declared the winner. And when it was revealed that I was the winner, I was overwhelmed. I'm the first female to win a sprint gold for Jamaica. Back home, my country loved me so much. Everybody in Jamaica know me. It's a very small country, as you know. So whenever I go home, everybody know me. If I go to a restaurant, it's all autograph and photos. It's just love, and I'm excited.
And she won that race by 2/1000ths of a second over second place. Amazing.
All right, let's set this field. We got to talk about all of them. Lane 1, Lisa Barber, ranked 5th in the world last year. Not a bad sprinter in her own right. And we'll just have to wait to see what the wind is doing here as to what will happen with these ladies. Marcia Hooker, a great collegiate sprinter, decided to go pro, ranked 7th in the U.S. at the distance last year.
And the woman that everybody's talking about is next to her, Allyson Felix in lane 3 from the Los Angeles area. The best all-around sprinter in the world is this woman. And earlier this week, we had a chance to catch up with her as she not only turned pro right after high school, but she stayed with her academics and graduated in 4 years with an elementary education major, wants to teach, as her mother has done, from the University of Southern California, and kept up with her world-class training as well. She's the best 100, 200, and 400-meter runner in the world.
Next to her, Carmelita Jeter, a bit of a surprise when she won the bronze medal at that World Championships last year, just 100th of a second off the first 2.
The 2004 world champion, the gold medalist from Jamaica, Veronica Campbell-Brown, in the race, running very well, training just outside of Orlando, Florida.
And in lane 6, Lauren Williams. She always comes to play when something is on the line. World champion, World Championship Olympic medalist, and Olympic silver medalist.
And Torri Edwards next to her. Edwards missed the world title by 4/100ths of a second in Osaka last year. She was the 03 world champion in that event.
In lane 8, Karan Stewart, part of that final in Osaka last summer, ranked 9th in the world. She finished 7th in that great race in Japan last summer.
And on the outside, ranked number 4 in the world at 200, and the number 1 400-meter runner in the world, Sonia Richards, recently signed to be the track and field girl for Coca-Cola.
So I don't know if we could have a better field for this 100 meters, and if the wind cooperates, we may see an incredible time.
Dwight, I think this is the finest women's sprint race we have ever had on television here in the United States, in any invitational event. It is a sensational, sensational race.
And now we are at the pretty much the mercy of the elements. We had Tyson Gay run a great time here with just a little bit too much wind. We have had some races earlier in the afternoon where they have run into a headwind. So hopefully the timing is right and these ladies can get the maximum benefit from the wind.
At the moment, it looks like a quartering wind in their face.
And that looked like Carmelita Jeter coming out early. And of course, the false start rule is that with the first false start, everyone will get charged, and the second person who jumps is automatically out.
Clear foul. Watch this. Not close. Not close. Jeter has not been running particularly well lately here, although she just missed the gold medal in Osaka, getting bronze. She missed it by 1/100th of a second. It was that pause. First they put up on the scoreboard that it was Torri Edwards, and then they put up Williams, and then finally they put up Campbell-Brown as the winner, and it was 5, some people say as long as 7 minutes the wait to separate it with the electronic timing.
Let's take a look at the field again, and if they happen to be running into a headwind, it's really going to be about the race, which it is anyway. But look at this. You can't blame Carmelita Jeter for trying to get a little bit of an advantage at the start. But now everyone has a false start. They've got to stick in the blocks. It'd be a shame to see anybody thrown out of this race.
You know, she ran under 11 seconds last year. Only a few women got under that magic barrier last year. And Sonia is better known as a 400-meter runner, but she's trying to work on her sprint speed to get faster at the 2 and subsequently then at the 4, as she has been challenged last year by Allyson Felix.
And like Allyson Felix, she wants to be considered in the 4x100-meter relay pool.
Correct, absolutely. And got a good chance for that. We'll see.
All right, they start again. False start on the field.
Another false start, and somebody's going out. That's Marcia Van Hooker is going to get thrown out. And she had one of the fastest times in the world this year, had injected herself right up with the very, very best. A former NCAA champion when she was at Texas, Dwight, but she is gone.
And unless they can point to a gun malfunction of some time or timing malfunction, she will not contest this race. And again, such a shame to see anybody disqualified from this opportunity. And of course, those starts take something out of the legs on a hot day like this, a hard track. And Hooker is definitely out. Lane 2 will be open. So these ladies have all started twice now.
There was no reason to complain about that at all. I mean, it wasn't even close. There was nothing subtle. I didn't hear a click of a camera. You know, there's no excuses. She just bolted. Watch lane 2 on the right of the screen. Easily a false start by Hooker. Sad moment. She was ranked 7th in the U.S. last year and a very good long jumper as well, although she's trying to get on the U.S. team in the 100 meters. All right, let's set again here. 8 of the 9 fastest women in the world are on the starting line, have come to Los Angeles here for this meet, and everybody is focused on the quest for the games.
And now they have to really focus because 2 false starts. The starter may change his cadence. Away cleanly this time in the middle of the track. That is a good start by Carmelita Jeter. Veronica Campbell-Brown as well. And it's Lauren Williams in lane 6 looking good too. Now here comes Campbell-Brown, and it looks like almost a blanket finish. Very close between Lauren Williams and Veronica Campbell-Brown. Not as close as Osaka, but very, very close.
I think it's Campbell-Brown that won that. The time unofficially, probably into a quartering wind or something, 11.14 seconds. Certainly, I'll be shocked if it's a tailwind, or the time would be closer to 11. Williams seemed to have that lead, Dwight. Got out well. Let's take a look at the race again. Watch the center of the track, and you're going to see Lauren Williams in 6, Campbell-Brown to her left. And it is Lauren Williams with a slight lead over Campbell-Brown. Campbell-Brown has terrific, smooth stride. She's great at 200 meters. Watch her. The longer the race, the tougher she is, and she nips at the finish line. Lauren Williams, gold and silver at the World Championships, and that's how they finished here.
And
Campbell-Brown got first.
Karan Stewart out in lane 8 was right there as well. They ran into a 0.9 headwind, about a 2 1/4 mile an hour headwind. That certainly did affect the time, but it was a very, very good race. Allyson Felix finishing 4th in 11.21. Sonia Richards finishing 6th. So Campbell-Brown with the win over Lauren Williams, and Karan Stewart getting 3rd. And downstairs we go to Lewis.
All right, well, Veronica, a tough win over a tough field. Why don't you take us through what happened there?
It was a great race. I think I executed well, and I'm just happy with the result.
Lauren, you're standing next to the younger Lauren Williams, who will one day walk in your shoes. First of all, about the race, and then give a couple of words of inspiration to the youngster there.
Very good race. Second 100 of the year. Really excited about it. Really looking forward to USA trials in Beijing. Congratulations. Way to be a victorious Lauren Williams. Even though I wasn't today, you held it down for both of us.
That sounds great. And Allyson, I know it's been a busy week for you, and congratulations on the graduation. How have you managed all the emotions, and what do you think about your run down the 100 today?
Thanks. It's been a tough week, but I just wanted to get out here and compete in this great field, and so I have a lot of things to work on, but it was good to run.
All right, ladies, congratulations. And there she is, the Lauren Williams of the future sprint star. Great running by all these ladies. Dwight?
All right, Lewis. Well, nothing was really settled much there. Veronica Campbell-Brown taking it in a slow time into a headwind. Much more to come here at the Adidas Track Classic in Carson. Don't go anywhere.
Monday, June 2nd, the summer's biggest.
Mets take on Derek Jeter and the Yankees. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell on ESPN at 8 Eastern. Coverage begins with Baseball Tonight, driven by Chevy at 7 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Well, as you know, at every Visa Championship Series stop, USA Track and Field sends several of America's best athletes into a local school to talk to the kids about winning with integrity.
The Fauché Learning Center in Los Angeles was our stop this week as the Visa Championship Tour continues. And our Win with Integrity star for this event, 100 hurdle Olympic champion Joanna Hayes. We brought the message of living a healthy, drug-free lifestyle in hopes that one day these little hands will touch their own golden success in life. And it all starts with education.
All right. Raise your hand if sports is more important than education.
No, wrong answer.
No, education first, sports second, right? Because
if you don't
guess
get
what?
education,
that's right.
You can't play sports.
That's exactly right. You can be the best athlete in the world, but if you don't have the right grades, you won't get into the school.
And there were lots of great questions.
Graduated from college? Yes, Leslie asked me if I graduated from college. And my proud answer is yes, I graduated from college.
Then this first grader had his Olympic moment against Joanna Hayes. Watch this.
Giancarlo, Olympic champion.
And that smile on Giancarlo's face made the visit worth it all.
Come on, you guys can cheer for him louder than that.
Well, throughout this outdoor season, Win with Integrity will continue to spread the message to today's youth that doing things the right way should be the only way in life and in sports. Next stop, New York City.
And many of those kids will never forget that visit by some of America's greatest athletes. A great message, education before sport. And so many of those great athletes getting a college education as a result of their sport. When we come back, it's the men's turn. Tyson Gade, the 3-time world champion, will take the track on a very hot and windy day here in Carson, California. Stay with us.
Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to be in the corner, knock the ball.
On Carson, California for more of our coverage of the 2008 Adidas Track Classic. Second stop on the Visa Championship Series Tour. First time that the athletes get a chance to score points. And the next event on the track is the Adidas Men's 100 meters And I don't know if we've talked enough about Tyson Gay. Let's take a look at the world record, of course, Asafa Powell, American record, Maurice Greenstill, meet record. Tyson Gay, a windy time last year, just missing the world record, and the 2008 best, the second fastest time in history. And he had a great world championships, did Tyson Gay, last summer in Osaka, winning 3 gold medals. But at the same time, he had an incredible U.S. championships, the best double in history at a single event. And because of that, we're going to give you the Nissan USA Track and Field Championship flashback.
For you to say it's historic is amazing to me. It's a privilege, you know, for my name to be mentioned with those guys. Those are great athletes, you know, and especially Jesse Owens, you know, especially the way he carried himself off the track. A lot of people compare me to him, and that's just an honor for my name to even be mentioned. His. Wow. Right now, I consider myself the world's fastest man. Bo ran the second fastest time in the world. Asafa, he is the world record holder, but I think I am the world's fastest man. Just depends on how you want to look at it. You know, I run the 100 and the 200. I run the 4x1. You know, maybe if I only focused on one event, maybe I can run even faster. But right now, I consider myself the world's fastest man. To me, winning Olympic gold is more important, but I would also like to have the world record as well.
And Larry, I got to tell you, it's really unusual to have 3 great sprinters, fastest guys in the world, and such gentlemen, such grace they have.
Classy guys. You're talking about Usain Bolt, I'm sure, and Asafa Powell, the world record holder, and Tyson. You know, he said something interesting to Dwight earlier this year. Success, he said, requires me to be obedient, and it's a kind of a strange word, obedient mentally, physically, and spiritually this Olympic year. Derrick Atkins, confident guy, 24 years of age, went to college at Dickinson College in the United States, has the Bahamas record and the silver and the bronze medal at the World Championships.
And then Wallace Spearman down in lane 3 has really started to venture into the 100 meters, broke 10 seconds last summer, but primarily his race is the 200. Everybody thinks he should move up to the 400. That's how talented this young man is.
America had only 2 guys ranked in the top 10 in the world last year. Spearman was one at one end, and the other was the #1 guy, Gay. So we've been weak in this event in the last year or 2.
Just check out this field. Sean Crawford does have a gold medal in the 200 meters from Athens. Spearman, multiple world championship appearances. Tyson Gay, of course, 3 gold medals at the World Championships last summer. Darvis Patton has also been a world champion in the 200 meters. So a great field here for the Adidas men's 100 meters. And if we could get some cooperation from the wind, who knows what could happen as they have them standing up. We've been having some problems with the timing devices.
And I would add this also, that looking at the flags, they're coming in at a quartering wind again. It's not quite head on, but it has been. And earlier today, Dwight, it was a nice tailwind right up until about an hour before we went on the air live, and then the wind shifted around, and it's now kind of in people's faces. Too bad, with the tremendous fields here at the Adidas Invitational.
The winds are always a little unpredictable here. Ask the pole vaulters. They love it in the afternoon because it comes in their back, but a little earlier, closer to noon, it can be right in their face.
Gay has been working, he's in lane 5 on his start, and it really focused on it. Let's see if he gets out really well here against this field.
Gay in the center of the track in lane 5.
And that was start.
Too close, too fast. Derrick Atkins out early. And again, I have to stress, in this heat, and how hot this Mondo surface can get in this heat, very hard on these athletes to do multiple starts.
Well, watch Atkins out in lane 4 beside Tyson Gay, just jumps. We've got 4 jumps. I can't say, sometimes I think you can, that the starter's holding these guys too long. They just seem a little jumpy today.
Let's go down to Lewis Johnson for a comment.
You know, down here on the track, Dwight, and you guys mentioned something about how hot this Mondo surface is. If I went down and touched it right now, it would absolutely burn your fingers. It's that hot out here. And so these athletes are not only dealing with that element of heat, but also the pressure of knowing the 3-time world champion is right in the center of the track. Everyone looking for that best start possible. Now the pressure continues and increases, I should say, with this false start on them. See what happens.
Well, it looks like with the electronic sensing devices, they actually charged Wallace Spearman with jumping. Look at, he's third from the right. See if he flinches a little bit. Boy, I really didn't see it, but you know what? That's why they have the devices. So Spearman gets the false start, but it doesn't matter. Everyone now has a false start. The next person to jump is gone. Take a look one more time. A little bit of a flinch, and that's all it takes. Ask John Drummond if that's all it takes from the 2003 World Championships. So they get back in the blocks. Also, another point is that when it's this hot, that surface gets a little on the soft side, which of course slows it down. So it's a double whammy, the headwind, the hot surface, and a little bit slower surface as they get ready for the second firing of the gun.
Still a quartering wind off their left shoulder.
And that is going to be Daniel Bailey of Antigua out in lane 8. Competed for his country in Athens 4 years ago. And that's a shame. It's a great opportunity for him to be in with a fantastic field. And he was just trying to guess.
You know, I'm very perplexed about that. That was a very quick jump. I don't understand some of this stuff. I mean, it's just, I mean, you got to be disciplined here. You just have to be disciplined. You travel all this way. You go through all kinds of preparation. You've got 5 or 6 major races before your Olympic trials in your country. And you walk in here and you just jump. I don't get it.
At least that time, the rest of the field did not do a full start, so that might help a little bit. Let's go back down to Lewis.
Yeah, look at Wallace Spearman right now with his hands on his hip. Now, 2 things are happening here. Wallace is not happy with the way that this start is being handled. He's thinking that the gun should have been fired much quicker. I'm sure that's what it is. But secondly, Wallace Spearman has to learn now to get back into his mental game and repeat what he needs to do to be able to compete properly. But I can tell you that these athletes earlier were not happy with how long they were being held in the set position. But here's the deal. You guys will both agree with me. You never know what you're going to run into in terms of a starter when you get to the Olympic trials or the Olympic Games. So these are all dress rehearsal opportunities for athletes to come out here and make sure they go through their proper cadence. And if something weird happens, like one false start, an athlete being thrown out, a second one, you've got to be able to react. Now we'll have to watch and see how Wallace Spearman responds to the situation. He's used to the 2. The 100 puts more pressure on him. But again, it's the pressure of the 3-time world champion in the middle of the track, Dwight.
All right, you know, to touch on what you're saying on this issue, coaches constantly talk to sprinters about not getting rattled by starters. Everybody has to start the same. If it's held a little longer, stay cool, stay cool, stay cool. And, you know, I can understand them being annoyed, but you got to stay cool.
Well, at the risk of making too much of a stretch of an analogy, a lot of baseball players aren't really that crazy about the umpire strike zone sometimes either, but he's the umpire.
I think it's a good point. And you can't turn around and complain all the time.
That's correct. Get a reputation for being a complainer. I hate when that happens. All right, start number 3. They did not really fully start in start number 2, so maybe not so much energy, but now it becomes very tense, and it becomes really a race with a swirling wind. Tyson in the middle, Tyson Gay in the middle of the track in lane 5. When he really held him that time. Atkins out well in 4. Spearman way back. Here comes Tyson Gay in 5 in the middle. Right next to him, that is Doc Patton. And it's going to be Tyson Gay barely holding off. Doc Patton, unofficially 10.05. We will get the wind information for you as soon as we can, but that's the best I've seen Doc Patton look in a long time. He raced Tyson Gay all the way to the finish line. And Wallace Spearman just got left in the blocks on that start.
He's not a good starter, Spearman. You can see him way back on the right-hand side. He is out of it. He closes well, but he doesn't start well. Gay gets out well, but also Darvis, Doc Patton, as everybody calls him, an Olympic silver medalist in the 4x1 relay 4 years ago, almost beats Tyson Gay, and the time was very respectable, Dwight. We're still waiting for the official time to show up on the screen. Slight headwind, 10.05 seconds. The wind was virtually negligible. Into the headwind of about 1/4 mile an hour, so nothing worth talking about. Here's the head-on view, and Gay holds together well. His 200-meter strength holds well over the last 20 meters, and he holds off Patton for the victory.
And Tyson is down with Lewis.
All right, thanks. Well, let's first of all get to the start of this thing. Multiple false starts. How does that affect you as you come out here hoping to run fast?
Considering this is my first race of the year, that really made me nervous. Had to refocus, and I was twitching a little bit in the blocks.
Right, and then as you're coming down the line here, and Doc Patton was pressing you on the right, talk about the recovery, because it looked to me like you were not with him at the start.
Yeah, I think he may have had a better start. Me and him actually been doing block starts together, so it was kind of like practicing. I was a little surprised, but we both ran a good race.
And so what does a dress rehearsal like this, a big meet opportunity, hoping to run fast, how does this help you as you look forward to the Olympic trials and also to Beijing?
It helps me a lot because it's about the victory. The more I win, the more confidence I have.
All right, Tyson, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Dwight?
You know, he talks to his mother, Daisy Lowe, every single day, and she says, I calm him down on race day, and we're close. He sometimes calls within a half an hour of the race. They have a great relationship, and he says he's very effective at helping him calm down.
So Gay winning it by 100th over Doc Patton and Derrick Atkins, this bronze medalist from last summer's World Championships, ending up third. Okay, that was exciting. 2 real good races, back with a whole lot more to come. Tyson Gay still going to run the 200 later.
Inside.
Welcome back to Carson, California. Just about 15 miles south of downtown Los Angeles. It's the 2008 Adidas Track Classic, second stop on the Visa Championship Series. There were some events that came or ran before we came on the air, and one of them is the men's 3,000 meters, a tough race in this heat.
It was, Dwight. It doesn't hurt your performance overall. You just kind of suffer when you're out there a little bit more. Coming down the home stretch in yellow, that is Galen Rupp, the high school star trained by Alberto Salazar, and took a time off, a sabbatical from the University of Oregon to focus on trying to make the Olympic team. 4:10.9 for the first 1,600 meters. Winning time by Rupp, 7 minutes 51.17 seconds over Olympian Jonathan Riley, who is just a stride or 2 behind.
So some good early running in some very difficult conditions, but it could also be very hot in Eugene, Oregon, where we're having the U.S. trials at the end of June, early part of July. Let's switch gears, go down to Lewis Johnson as a special guest, analyst. Lewis.
All right, I'm here with John Godina, 2-time Olympian and 4-time world champion in the shot put. And before we get to the competition that happened today, John, first of all, what are you up to?
Came here today through the discus again, got 3rd place, did pretty well. Working on getting to that 4th Olympics. It's hard to pull off 4 Olympics, and I'd really like to try and make that team one more time.
Hard to pull off 4 Olympics. Boy, I wish I was lucky as that. Well, listen, let's get to the shot put here today. And Christian Cantwell really had a great series, John. Let's look at his 4th throw. Why don't you give us some analysis, because you're awfully qualified.
Well, Christian has the advantage of having about a 660 to 680-pound bench press. You'll see him tall in the back, drop at the front, and he just really arches that head back and gives us some lift. Sets himself bench press position with a little bit of leg help and just rips the shot out over 70 feet to 70'2".
And the potential for that guy today, this year, in terms of what he can do on the world stage?
You know, this could be Christian's year. He's far and away the biggest and strongest guy out there, and I don't see any reason why he shouldn't win a gold medal this year. I think that a lot of good throwers in our country have been coming up and gotten 6 guys over 70 feet, but he has by far and away got the best PR.
All right, John, thanks so much. Here's a guy that brought a lot of attention to that event, doing both the shot and the discus. Dwight, now just focusing on the discus, and the other guys carrying the weight there. John, thanks so much. Back up to you, Dwight.
All right, Lewis. Well, great to see John healthy again and getting ready to make his 4th Olympic team. A lot more to come. Don't you go anywhere. Sprinting, middle distance running, jumping, throwing, we got it all.
More heaps.
And we are back at the Home Depot Center, the 2008 Adidas Track Classic. We're just a little less than halfway through. Hello, everybody. It's been a while since we've seen you, and a lot of news has happened since we've seen you last, and a lot of great distance running, including an American record by Shalane Flanagan at 10,000 meters.
Certainly was, Dwight. Let's do our quick track and field version of Pardon the Interruption. She did it at the Cardinal Invitational just a couple of weeks ago. She shattered the American record of Dina Castor and did it by 16+ seconds. And she averaged 4 minutes and 54 seconds for 6.2 miles, did Shalane Flanagan. She is primed, ready, and healthy for her quest for the Olympic Games in Beijing. Coming to the Prefontaine Classic will be none other than Kenenisa Bekele, the greatest distance runner in the world right now on the track. He wins everything, enormous speed, and he is going to try and break his world record at 10,000 meters. If you can believe this is so astonishing. He will try and average a pace for 6.2 miles on the track of 4 minutes and 13 seconds per mile. Outrageous stuff.
Now, this surprised me a little bit, Larry. Oscar Pistorius, the double amputee from South Africa, has been cleared to participate in the Olympic Games. I didn't think the decision would go that way.
Nor did I, Dwight. I was surprised by this whole thing, but long story short, the South African Federation welcomes him. He is less than a second away from getting a qualifying time. If you take his lifetime best, to getting a qualifying standard that is needed to qualify to run the 400 meters in the Olympic Games. And he's got a real chance to do this. And South Africa said we'd love to have him on the relay as well if he can do that.
That's groundbreaking stuff. And finally, talk about a lightning bolt. I saw that incredible time by Usain Bolt, the youngster from Jamaica who won a 200-meter silver medal, but he ran the second fastest time in history down in Jamaica recently.
All of 6 feet 6+ inches tall, about 200 pounds. Nobody that size has ever done anything like this in history in the sprints. The fastest guy in the world came within 2/100ths of a second of his countryman Asafa Powell's 100 meters. They will face off next week. 2 weeks from now, Asafa Powell again, Usain Bolt versus Tyson Gay at the Reebok Grand Prix.
Well, you know, Tyson Gay said it all. He's the one that has the medals. He may not have the time yet, but he's the world champion in 3 events. Asafa Powell breaking that world record after getting a bronze medal in the 100 in Osaka. Usain Bolt, a 200-meter silver medalist, but nothing in the way of hardware in the 100. That may all change in Beijing, but it also could change in New York in a couple of weeks. Usain Bolt has run there at the Reebok Grand Prix a number of times. Maybe that is where it will all come together.
And we'll have that right here for you live on ESPN2, that meet, the Grand Prix meet itself.
All right, in our second hour, we still have a lot of action to show you, including the men's 1500, Bernard Lagat, women's hurdles, men's 400 meters, and we will see Tyson Gay again back in the men's 200 meters. Stay with us.
It's the beautiful game, played at its highest level.
Solidly in the middle of the spring season, and in 1948, something historic happened with Mel Patton setting that 100-yard world record.
At the West Coast Relays, Dwight, 1948, he would go on to win the Olympic 200 meters, but he broke Jesse Owens' 14-year record in the 100, running 9.3. The record had been 9.4. And then it was Marty LaCory locking heads with Jim Ryan in the Dream Mile at Franklin Field at the University of Pennsylvania. Favored in the race was Ryan, but it was Marty LaCory running 3:54.6 and edging Ryan by 0.2 of a second before a large crowd in Pennsylvania.
I remember watching that as a high school senior. Then I was at this meet down in Kingston in 1975 when Filbert Bayi broke Jim Ryan's world record.
The place was packed, a great meet, 35,000 people watching. 3:51.1 was the record. Eamon Coughlin trailing, Marty LaCory in third in that picture, and Filbert Bayi ran the world record time of 3:51 flat to get the victory.
Now, not many people saw this, Mark. I happened to be out there warming up for my event when Tom Petronoff in 1983, the first year of the World Championships, unleashed a gigantic javelin world record in front of me and a couple of dogs and a cat and some kids.
And he wound up throwing the javelin 327 feet 2 inches. He was a good baseball pitcher. In the upper 90s, he could throw the ball.
So that catches you up with this week in track and field history. And on the track, we are getting ready now for the women's 400 meters. Ana Guevara packed this place back in 2003. 2008, best shared by Allyson Felix and Amantel Mancho of Botswana. And here is the field, a very good one, I might add, certainly from American standpoint, with Natasha Hastings, Northlene Williams, Dee Trotter, Mary Weinberg, all three of those ladies on the U.S. team last summer in Osaka.
Trotter's been struggling with a knee injury for the last 5 weeks, training sporadically, but able to try and do some quality work.
Northlene Williams Mills of Jamaica will start in lane 5. Bronze medalist last summer behind 2 Brits. Then Natasha Hastings, a former South Carolina standout, former NCAA champion who made that team last summer. She will be in lane 4. Mary Weinberg, who also represented the U.S., kept Sonia Richards off that team. She is also running in lane 3. And it's nice to see no false start in the sprints.
I was thinking the same thing. I almost said what you said.
And that's Natasha Hastings taking it out pretty quickly there in lane 4. Right outside of her, Northlene Williams Mills of Jamaica.
And mentioning Hastings there, she won the NCAA indoor and outdoor titles last year and then turned professional.
Sharifa Lloyd of Jamaica way out there in lane 7 with nobody to see, but she's making a good rabbit of herself for Northlene Williams and Natasha Hastings.
Lloyd has run 51.1 plus here this year earlier. Let's see if she can hold it down the home stretch.
Well, she comes off the turn in first place, but she is not holding it onto it now. Noveline Williams-Mills lifting nicely up the finishing stretch. And in lane 3, that is Mary Weinberg challenging her at the tape. But at the tape, it is Noveline Williams-Mills, the bronze medalist from last summer's World Championships, unofficially 50.38. And you can see they're fighting a little bit of wind there in that 400. But a good, solid performance in mid-May for Noveline Williams-Mills. Of course, she'll have the Jamaican trials to contend with later on in the early summer.
Coming down the home stretch, let's take a look here, and you see Noveline really make up some ground there, and despite kind of some swirling winds that she faces, she powers away. Mary Weinberg closing well, almost gets the victory at the tape, but not quite, and Noveline Williams winds up running the 3rd fastest 400 meters in the world this year.
And here are the final results. Noveline Williams-Mills winning it, 50.38. Mary Weinberg a close second. We have to tell you, Dee Trotter 9th place in 53.99. She's got some work to do. Natasha Hastings was 4th in 51.09. And another look at that finishing straight, and look at how well Noveline Williams-Mills kept her form together.
You know, it's really so important that you don't go out too hard in this race. It really is. It makes a big difference. You can go out an extra half a second too fast for the first 200 meters, and it'll slow you down by 1 to 1.5 seconds on the home stretch for the second half, which you might normally do.
Well, when we come back, we get a chance to see the American double world champion at 5,000 and 1,500 meters, no other than Bernard Lagat. He is going to challenge this field at the 1,500 meter distance.
She's the only American woman to pole vault 60.
Well, we've been talking about that great double that Bernard Lagat had last summer in Osaka, 5,000 and 1,500s. It was incredible.
It was. He really was. And he showed tremendous sprint speed in the 5,000 meters, Dwight, as he ran 52 seconds plus for his last 400 meters to snatch that victory. And had the lead with 100 to go, but the pace was searing. And his last quarter mile, last 400 meters, was 53 seconds plus in the 1,500. He ran the equivalent of a 3:51 mile. He ran 3:34.77 seconds in the 1,500 to win 2 world championships. Amazing speed and stuff.
Bodes awfully well. Lagat already with a silver and a bronze medal in the Olympic 1,500 meters. As we get ready now for the Nutrilite men's 1,500 meters, Rashid Ramsey, who he vanquished in that world championships, set the meet record 2 years ago at this meet. And there you see the 2008 best. Lagat an A standard in both the 1,500 and the 5,000. And he is Mr. Everything at 33 years of age, still showing no tendency to slow down.
Not at all. I talked to him yesterday, and you know, of course, we've known each other for a lot of time. I simply used basic questions. I said, how are you? He said, I'm fine. Training going well. Yes, etc. Lopez Lemond, big surprise this year. A wonderful story. Too long to get into. One of the lost boys of Sudan, came to this country in 2001 and settled in Tully, New York, and had not run track until he got to the U.S.
And here's the field. John Rankin, amazingly enough, does have an Olympic A qualifying standard, and Lopez Lemond may be looking to get one here. As I mentioned, Bernard Lagat having his standard in both the 1,500 and the 5,000 meters. And what's he doing there? Nick Simmons, he's an 800-meter runner.
This guy's a 1,500-meter runner, too, I think, Dwight. His first attempt at the distance, when he focused on it indoors, 3:56 for the mile, going back a year ago. Let's see what Simmons can do here today.
Well, we certainly have seen in the past Nick Simmons possesses a lot of strength, and that's clearly what he's working on here. Plenty of time for these guys who are focusing in that late June, early July time frame up in Eugene, Oregon for the U.S. Olympic trials. Oh, crash and burn. And yes, they reshot the gun. First 100 meters, and they will line back up. The right thing to do.
This is going to take a little time to get everybody back, and they're going to give them a couple of minutes to kind of chill, I would think, as they walk back.
Well, it looks like it was Lopez Lemond that went down in a heap. And that track is hard and hot, as Lewis Johnson had mentioned earlier. Let's see what can happen.
Usually they clip heels, Dwight. Usually somebody bumps, yes, and somebody loses stride, and then you never know what's going to happen after that. Yes. People can get hurt in moments like that.
A couple of guys went down. There could be some spikeage. There's going to definitely be some road rash there. And I said, as Lewis mentioned, it's a rough top to that surface, and if you skid on it at all, it's going to give you a nasty little burn.
What happens is, you know, you're in close quarters, and you're trying to be really concerned about it, but something that's fearful is the fact you take your eyes off it and you start focusing on pace, and you wind up tangling with somebody else, and that creates a chain reaction.
Well, he also went down in a heap at the Stanford Invitational a couple of weeks ago, so a little too light on his feet in this early going, and hopefully he'll be able to shake it off and get the maximum opportunity that is afforded him here in this great field.
Lemond's a wonderful story and was adopted by a family in Tully, Vermont, the Rogers family, and they had such a great experience with Lopez as a person that they've adopted 5 other Sudanese youngsters from that Lost Boys of Sudan.
Well, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, a couple weeks from now we will be in New York City for the Reebok Grand Prix, Saturday, May 31st at 8 Eastern Time, and many of the great stars that you're seeing here today in Carson will be at that meet, but 2 weeks further down the road and closer to Olympic trials and Olympic Games. So make certain that you tune in for us. We always have Lu Zhang in that meet, and he is the Chinese world record holder and Olympic champion, is also due to be in New York again. So it'll be a great men's 110-meter hurdles field.
Look at Simmons. Look at Simmons.
Let's go down to Lewis Johnson.
Guys, I'm going to tell you what. Don't tell me the track and field is not a contact sport. Look at Nick Simmons, who you guys talked about being an 800-meter runner. Look at his left knee. Right there in front of us, he has got a huge, it's his right knee actually, a huge gash and bleeding down his right leg. Nick Simmons there. And boy, he has waved off help from the trainers. He told them, don't come out here. He's still going to run as we get ready for the start. Wow, look at that gash.
Well, you got to hope that that was something just superficial and not something that will actually affect him when he runs.
Took lots of pre-med courses at Willamette University, did Simmons. He probably could self-diagnose himself as being fine.
And this is the problem that you can sometimes have with this large a field. 15 runners in this field, and this time they managed to stay out of each other's way a little bit better than the first time.
First turn's always the worst, Dwight, and that's where it happened.
Jim Weiner and Grant Robeson are designated as the Rabbits.
You know,
Robeson in front right now.
Let me set this up a little bit. The goal here that Kip Lagat was hoping to get was about a 152, 153 first 800 meters, and if Robeson could hold the pace and push it a little further, great. That's what he was hoping to do as we look at Weiner, formerly of Cornell, pulling the field along. So let's see if the pace is strong. Kip Lagat was hoping to run a 3:33 plus, and the wind seems to have kicked up just a little bit looking at the flags here.
It's very nice of a Olympian to do the rabbiting duties here just about a month and a half, 2 months before the Olympic trial.
And you're referring to Robeson out of Stanford, by the way, on the 2014. 56.2 seconds for the first 400 meters of this 1,500-meter race. Very solid, right on pace.
And you can feel the wind whipping up at our broadcast position a little bit. The papers are flying around a little bit. Hopefully it's not as bad down on the field, but I'm looking at a flag by the pole vault that's whipping along pretty well as Robeson continues to lead over Weiner and the rest of the field stringing out behind them. Lopez Lemond there in third. Lagat is in there, of course. And Kevin Sullivan, I can see the red hair of Kevin Sullivan. Nick Willis of New Zealand is also right there.
He's in fifth, and Sullivan is in sixth at the moment as they approach the 800 meters. Simmons is poised, I think, to have a breakthrough. His lifetime best is 3 minutes and 40 seconds plus for this distance. He can, I think, run a lot faster. Let's see what happens. You know, he's strong with his kick, and that's what he wants.
Robeson steps off the track at the 800-meter mark, and Jim Weiner takes over the duties.
1 minute 54.3 seconds, a little slow. The key will be, can Robeson push this pace right in here?
Well, he won't be able to because he stepped off the track 150 meters ago, I believe. And Simmons is smart, keeping himself within himself, back there a little bit. One wonders if that problem with the fall and the gash of the leg had any deleterious effects on him.
That's Grant Robeson still out there, Dwight. He has got the lead at this point, and he's coming up.
There, Robeson steps off the track. That was Weiner at the 800-meter distance, and Lemond is now in front, and things are bunching up. Kip Lagat really wanting to go at this point in time. 300 meters remaining. And Nick Willis goes into the lead, or sort of in the lead. He's on the outside of lane one, right next to Lopez Lemond. Lagat is back there in his traditional spot, ready to strike at any moment.
2 minutes 53 seconds through 1,200 meters, and the pace is beginning to pick up now with about 150 meters to go. Willis holding on, and Kip Lagat on his shoulder.
And for a moment there, it looked like Legat was going to get boxed, but he's way too wily a veteran for that.
And here comes Simmons up in third place, I think. No, Kevin Sullivan.
That is Legat running away from Nick Willis, and Kevin Sullivan gaining on Nick Willis. It's going to be Legat, Easley, Willis, and Sullivan. Lemond, I saw him stopping his own watch to see if he might have gotten the time that he needed. Unofficially for Legat, it's 3:35.14. And I was struck by the fact that with 300 to go, he was like, come on, guys, let's go, it's time to go. 3:36.36 unofficially for Lemond in that race. So that would be enough to get him under the A standard.
Here's Bernard Legat, 200 meters to go. Nick Willis from New Zealand, an Olympian, is out in the lead at the moment. In second place there is Legat. And Kevin Sullivan, who's having a terrific year. The guy has been amazing to keep his passion now at 35 years of age. When he was a sub-4-minute miler in high school, the man on the left in the white singlet from Canada. They're running 1, 2, 3. New Zealand, the United States, and Canada at the moment, and finally shifting into gear down the home stretch, Bernard Legat. He said, I've only been doing speed work in the last 3 weeks, get on the track twice a week as I start to sharpen up in my quest for the Olympic trials for the United States.
Now he is looking at potentially a set of Olympic medals in the 1,500 meters. Already has a bronze and a silver from the time that he represented Kenya, and the winner is downstairs with Lewis Johnson.
Yeah, Dwight, we actually had to step off the track because Bernard, you're saying it's so hot to get on this grass. Talk about these conditions.
The conditions are, not too bad. It's a little hotter than I was expecting, But I train in Tucson, Arizona, so it's not too bad, actually, I'm kind of used to this weather.
When was the last time you had to start like that? We had to stop 100 meters down the track.
It was the finals in Athens Olympics. So so it brings back those memories.
All right, I know you've got the double on your mind, so talk about the process and where you are with putting that together.
You know what, I'm pleased with my performance today, so that means my training has been going well. So I want to continue training well, with, hoping to go through the trials, get the top 3 in 2 events, and, I'll play by ear and see how it's going to, to shape up, especially my shape for the games itself.
All right, Bernard, thanks for stopping. Hey, go get some cool water, huh?
I am going to do that, thank you.
All right, Lewis, good suggestion. Legat wins it, a very respectable 3:35.14. Willis and Sullivan sort of cruising across the line under 3:36 as well. And it's official, Lopez Lemond does get under the A qualifying standard for the Olympic Games. That monkey is off his back. Now he can focus on the trials in early July. Well, we're staying here. Next event on the track is going to be the women's 100-meter hurdles, and has been the case pretty much from top to bottom in this meet. A very good field. Michelle Perry with the meet record, but Melissa Morrison ran a 12:44 windy a couple of years ago. But the Olympic champion Joanna Hayes in this race, she will start out of lane 5. She formerly of UCLA, and at the time a pretty good 400-meter hurdler at the time, set the Olympic record in winning that gold medal in Athens.
She ran 12.72 seconds, Dwight, so she's off the Olympic form that she showed, but nonetheless, you ran 12.7 seconds, you're really fit. She's now going to focus, I'm sure, on tweaking her performance over the hurdles, working on the quickness, etc., her speed.
Damu Cherry has really come on in the last couple of years, running very big PRs. 12:44 she ran last year, has the fastest time in the world this year, and really contends for the team. That will be a tough team to make, that women's hurdles. As we now look at the field, lane 1 will be open as Jenny Adams moved over to the long jump. Dawn Harper moved from 1 to 2. But look at this, Damu Cherry in 4, Joanna Hayes in 5, Vanette Dixon of Jamaica in 6, Candace Davis of the U.S. in 7. A very solid women's 100-meter hurdles field.
And until she was injured last week, Dwight, at the California Relays, Michelle Perry, the #1 hurdler in the world, was going to be competing here, probably in one of those open lanes there.
So Michelle Perry, of course, the twice world champion, so you can't have to consider her as a favorite to make the Olympic team. Somebody very good, or several very good hurdlers, will be left off the U.S. team as we look at Joanna Hayes, who has battled some injuries over the last couple of years. But honestly, 4 years ago, we really were not aware of the type of shape that she was in that got her on the U.S. team and eventually to the gold medal and the Olympic record.
Cherry is in lane 4, and Joanna Hayes is in 5. Hayes says she is healthy and fit. She's ready to go and looking forward to the last couple of months leading up to the trials.
Nicole Denby in 3 actually made the semifinal of the World Championships last summer. And they're away quickly and cleanly the first time. Cherry out very quickly. That is Cherry in 4, but now here comes Nicole Denby on her inside, and Joanna Hayes making a move also out in lane 7. Candace Davis looking very good. It is going to be Joanna Hayes winning it, and really coming on the last half of that race. She looked like she was being passed on the outside by Candace Davis, and then the last 3 hurdles she really executed, which is Bobby Kersey's signature of how he trains his hurdlers. Unofficially 12.64 for Hayes. We're waiting for some information on the wind. 0.6, so a little bit of aiding wind, maybe a mile an hour, a little bit more.
Not much at all. And, you know, I should add, that's her best time of the year for Hayes, so she'll be happy at a little bit of self-improvement from a week or two ago. Watch her. She's quick over the hurdle. She kind of crabs, doesn't bend her leg straight out all the way. I think that's a little quicker way to do it. And she winds up powering to the finish line off the last hurdle with her right lead leg very well and gets the victory.
Very close between Candace Davis and Nicole Denby for second.
This and perhaps the men's hurdles are among 2 of the strongest events in track and field that we should have in Beijing.
And Joanna is downstairs with Lewis.
Hey, Dwight, it's my Win with Integrity partner. So we're now down here on the track, and Joanna, an improvement in time. How about technique for you?
Yeah, certainly an improvement. I wanted to run at least 12:59, but a little headwind, and it felt good. It was a bad start, but I feel like I finished really strong, and I'm happy with it.
You know what it tastes like to taste that success at the highest level. What's it like to be on the way back to that?
I mean, it's almost indescribable. It's an amazing feeling to know that I'm healthy, and the past few years I've been just watching everybody run, watching everybody win, and I'm like, I can be there. So it feels really good, and the ladies I've been running, they've been doing a really good job, so I'm just happy that I'm on my way back and I can hopefully contend with them and make the team and go to Beijing.
All right, well, good luck, Joanna. Thanks.
Thank you.
Right?
All right, Lewis. Well, I guess when you're running that fast, it feels like the wind is in your face, but it was a little bit of a trailing wind. Joanna Hayes, 12:64, a very good time considering how much she has struggled of late. Candace Davis did get second, and Nicole Denby ends up getting third. Well, a little later, we will see Olympic 400-meter champion Jeremy Warner. But right now, he shares a training tip with all of us. Compliments of AT&T.
Hi, I'm Olympic sprinter Jeremy Warner. I'm gearing up for the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing. Here's a training tip for you. After you finish running, it is very important to have a cool-down session. That just means a light 5-minute jog or a couple laps around the track. If you don't do this, your muscles will tighten up, you'll probably get sore, and maybe risk injury. So at the end of the workout, even if you are tired, make sure you get a 5-minute cool-down in. You will not regret it.
And other U.S. Olympic, for more tips from Jeremy and other U.S. Olympic team hopefuls, go to attblueroom.com. Well, we're still live, and we're going to the women's pole vault. Jen Stuzinski, who, you know, set the American record at this event last year and then set it again at the Reebok meet. She's going for 4 meters 90, 16 feet 3/4 of an inch for Stuzinski. And not on that one. Stuzinski always strong early in the spring. And that is just her first attempt, so she is right back on form. So we can look for another 16-foot clearance from Stuzinski. Only she and world record holder Yelena Isinbayeva have managed to clear that height, along with Russian Feofanova. She didn't really get the hip height on that one, but, you know, her first jump at the American record last year wasn't that great either. So Stuzinski enjoying some decent wind over there on the pole vault runway. It runs 90 degrees to the straightaway, and she will have 2 more chances. Now, she did clear 15.3 3/4 earlier, sort of an intermediate height for Jen these days.
Dwight, in many ways, I think the athletes would probably say in the pole vault here, the women's pole vault, that this is a great condition for them. It's dry heat, you know, and they've got a tailwind that's quite steady, and that's a very fine clearance, well over 15 feet. And she's obviously the class of the American women pole vaulters here.
And she was a silver medalist at the World Championships last summer, so she has 2 more shots at a new American record, and we will show them to you when we return.
Enjoy the show.
Carson, California, for more of our coverage of the 2008 Adidas Track Classic, the next event on the track, the men's 110-meter hurdles. World record holder, of course, Liu Xiong of China, the defending Olympic champion. American record holder Dominique Arnold. Terence Tramel has the meet records, both windy and not. And David Oliver of the U.S. stunning everybody a couple weeks ago at 12:95, the best time in the world in 2008. Another very tough team to make. Some good hurdlers going to be watching on TV.
That's why I mentioned it in the women's race. It is just an amazingly deep field. Terence Tramel coming back, his first outdoor race this year. And he said everything's been fine. I've been focusing on my training and just tweaking a few things, trying to get up on his toes a little bit more and drive as he leans to the hurdle. Alan Johnson, I mean, this is Mr. Royalty for the event. 37 years of age now and hoping to make the Olympic team again.
It must be tough for him to travel with that cane and that oxygen and everything. He has to take 37 years old. But Johnson's still one of the greatest technicians ever in the event. Former American record holder, of course, Olympic champion way back in 1996. Tramel, twice an Olympic silver medalist, trying to get back there at the age of 28. And here is the field, and it's a very solid one from top to bottom. Joel Brown, of course, has had his moments. Aries Merritt left school early and has had mixed results. Terence Tramel, of course, twice the Olympic silver medalist and ran Liu Xiong to a great time in New York last season. Ryan Wilson with a 13.0 last year. Alan Johnson, you never count him out. Anwar Moore also having an excellent season.
You know, I've always been impressed with one thing that I think Alan has a little bit of a handicap. You probably wouldn't think that way, but the average top 10 hurdlers in the world average about 6 feet 2 inches tall, high center of gravity, easy to get over these high hurdles, which are 3 feet 6 inches tall. He's only 5'10". It's definitely a disadvantage. Those 4 inches make a difference.
But the good news for him is he doesn't have to chop his stride between hurdles, which is why he's had so much great success. Tramel, on the other hand, is 6'3" and faster than anybody in the field. Oftentimes will double 100 meters, 110 hurdles, certainly indoors 60-meter dash, 60-meter hurdles, and has been successful in both.
And he is going to do that at the Reebok Grand Prix. He's going to run the 100, and he's also going to run the hurdles.
All right, second attempt at an American record for Jen Stusinski, the silver medalist from last year's World Championships. 4 meters 90, 16 feet 3/4, the only American ever to jump 16 feet. Only 3 women in history have ever done so. 2 of them Russians, and the wind looks to be cooperating. Here she goes, second attempt, American record, and that
Yes, she's got it.
Without a touch of the bar, an outstanding technical effort. Her hips directly over the crossbar, and Stusinski takes down, puts up, I should say, another American record in her second time over the 16-foot barrier.
Far and away, so far this year, the finest women's pole vaulter in the world. It's early in the season, however, but she had the best in the world at 15 feet 5 inches coming into this competition. She's up over 16. Excellent form down the runway. Good speed. The plant is fine. She rocks back well. Look at that form. Perfect V up the top, and she winds up with a terrific vault here. Great confidence builder when you have to face Isinbayeva when you come up to the Olympics, and provided she obviously makes the team, but doing extraordinarily well, Dwight.
Well, yeah, that right arm, her back, her highest hand, she just nailed it right over her head, and she has such great leverage because she is tall and thin. So the speed that is increasing all the time, her speed on the runway, I don't know that I've ever seen it better, helped by a little bit of a tailwind and some great technique. So she's going to go straight to the world record now. She's going to try and break Yelena Isinbayeva's world record. She's going to go to 16.5 and change as we get back to the men's 110-meter hurdles. No slouches are these guys, but you don't see an American record every day.
No, you don't. And that will be, as you say, at 16 feet 5.5 inches. The women keep acclimating to this event better and better. And the bar keeps moving higher in the women's pole vault.
So watch the middle of the track here with Tramel in 4, Ryan Wilson in 5, Alan Johnson in 6, and Anwar Moore on Johnson's right in 7. What do you think? Maybe a false start?
These guys are known for it more than any other event in track and field. I have no clue why.
Good job. Oh, thank you very much.
We couldn't have success here. I mean, why?
And that looked like Ryan Wilson in lane 5, who might have gone a little bit early.
I did think they were held a long time in that one, I must say. Just we're talking a long time. It's just an extra split second or two. That's all. We're not talking a lot of time, but the athletes are used to the rhythm of international starters.
Well, that is certainly in lane 5. That appeared to be Ryan Wilson, but I missed the flinch of Wallace Spearman earlier. But it's no matter. The first false start simply puts a false start on everyone, and the next one is the one that may DQ them. Well, let's take this time to tell you about track and field fans. You have the opportunity to be part of the action. USA Track and Field's new Pick and Win fantasy game, which was very popular indoors, by the way, allows fans to create the ultimate track and field team each and every week. Go to VisaChampionsSeries.com. Select the athletes you think are going to compete well that week. The athletes you select will score points for you and possibly help you win the weekly prize if you're lucky. They will help you win the grand prize, a $2,000 Visa gift card. Log on today to get all the details. And our good friend Jim Dunaway was the one who won the indoor series. Long track fan, track statistician, and it's great to see that he will be going on to the Olympic trials courtesy of Visa.
Absolutely, all expenses paid.
Let's go down to Lewis Johnson.
Well, you know, let's go inside the heads of these hurdlers. I was surprised to see that it was Anwar Moore with the false start. The guys had about 6 to 8 minutes to warm up over the hurdles. If they don't get enough time, usually you might see someone like Alan Johnson, who's got so much experience, try and level the field with a false start, or maybe Joel Brown, who's in lane 1, who's one of the shorter hurdlers, try and level the field. So now, as we saw in the 100, the pressure is on the guys to stick in the blocks, but everyone's goal here, if you're not familiar with the hurdles, is to get to that first hurdle first, which sets you up for the rest of the race. And so now it comes down to really experience and nerves and guts to see who can manage this sort of stressful moment.
Now, see, I didn't see Anwar Moore flinch out there in 7. It looked like Ryan Wilson, but no matter. Now everyone has a false start. Next one to jump is gone. And oh no, it looked like lane 9 this time, but I'm afraid to even guess anymore. Eric Mitchum, who was an All-American in Oregon, Pac-10 champion in 2004, looked like he left a little bit early. So let's see if we can pick it up this time. Look on there, right at the bottom of the screen, bottom left there in the yellow, and boy, it sure looked like he left early.
You know, one of the reasons, Dwight, that could be a factor here sometimes is a lesser athlete is often the one that jumps. It's not one of the first, second, or third top athletes in any race. And the thought being, if people have great starts and they're an average starter, I want to neutralize that.
Sure.
And it doesn't cost me anything to do that. It's the free pass. And we're seeing more and more of this, and I don't know whether they eventually will fix this rule in some way. The NCAA championships is a good example. One false start, and you go home. That's it. And this rule increasingly seems to be not working based upon how many false starts we keep seeing in the invitational races.
Well, you know, neither one of us are sprinters. And when you talk to a sprinter, they have a completely different perspective on this. They feel they've been unduly penalized by this rule. You know, for live television, of course, this is a killer because it gets the meet behind schedule, and we may not see all of the people that we might want to. But also, it's hard on these athletes because starting as a sprinter is very hard on the legs, and you add this weather, you add this hard and hot track, it just increases the problem. But more importantly for Eric Mitchum, he doesn't get to run against a great field.
I understand.
All right, so once again, we have 8 hurdlers. Eric Mitchum out in lane 9. Next person to go to jump will be leaving us as well. To remind you, Terence Tramel in 4, Ryan Wilson in 5, Alan Johnson in 6.
Johnson still says after all these years he gets nervous before major competitions like this. He finds them stressful, particularly the Olympic trials.
Now that means he still loves it. And they're finally away cleanly, and Tramel out. Fantastic start. Look at him go. Terence Tramel is gone. And then out in lane 7, that's Anwar Moore, who has caught it now. Tramel having some problems in the middle of the race. He was absolutely gone, and it's going to be, look from here, Anwar Moore out in lane 7, who was the first person guilty of the false start. Unofficially 13.41, but Terence Tramel was gone the first 3 hurdles, that had a little adjustment problem in the middle of the race, allowed the rest of the athletes back in. And Anwar Moore, 13.39, takes it from a great field.
Let's take a look and see if we can ascertain what happened. You're right, Dwight. Terence Tramel in the center of the track gets out brilliantly, and he's easily the leader at this point. On the inside, within 3 hurdles, perhaps equaling him, is Moore. And it becomes a 2-person race, and then Tramel starts to fade a bit. Johnson never in the hunt out there, and look how close it is at the finish. Wow, what a race.
In that replay, I could see Tramel hit the 4th hurdle pretty hard, and we go down to Lewis Johnson.
All right, Anwar looks as though he's just tired and hot with all the false starts. What was it like to have to deal with all the false starts and then refocus for the race?
I wasn't that hard. We're used to it, so
just got to bear with it and go.
And Terence Tramel, the two-time Olympic silver medalist, was out there. I'm sure you saw him. How were you able to regroup, recover, pass him for the win?
I had to stay focused, you know, just like get the win.
All right, Anwar, congratulations.
Thank you.
Anwar having a little trouble recovering there. Anwar Moore winning it by 1/100th over Tramel, who hit the fourth hurdle hard. Ryan Wilson right there at 13.41. The old man, Alan Johnson, finishing 7th.
And she is going to 6-6.
So let's take another look at the end of the race. Very close. Blanket finished. Too many good hurdlers in this country, Larry.
And the young man, now 29 years of age from Camden High School in Camden, New Jersey, does that high school proud.
All right, moments ago, Jen Stuzinski, first attempt at the world record, 5 meters, 2 centimeters, 16 feet, 5.5 inches. Let me tell you, this would be a lightning bolt to Yelena Isinbayeva, the defending world champion, defending gold medalist from the Olympic Games. If Stuzinski was able to do this, not a great attempt, but remember, her first attempt at the American record was not that great. This is a good opportunity for her to get education at this height. Well, we've got a little bit of time left to go. So much more still to show you. Be sure to come back to us here in Carson.
Monday, June 2nd, the summer's biggest adventure begins.
And we're back in the next event on the track, Nissan Men's 400 meters, a meet record held by Jeremy Warner from 3 seasons ago. And LaShawn Merritt has the best time in the world this year. It seems like all that Jeremy Warner does is win. Olympic champion, twice world champion. Whenever he loses, it seems he has a little bit of an injury in the home stretch. This guy is unbelievable. But he's had some recent injury problems and a coaching change in 2008. That's why he is the subject of our Adidas Athlete Insight.
My right hamstring was a little tight. It hadn't been able to get loose. It wasn't nothing serious. I was still able to run good on it. It was more the fact that it was just tight and stiff. So I think I was overcompensating it and trying to make sure that I wasn't doing nothing to hurt that hamstring, and then my left one grabbed. So it went from one hamstring to the next. And when I turned professional and was working with Coach Hart professionally, he was always out there watching me, helping Coach Hart. If Coach Hart couldn't make it at a time for a practice, Coach Ford would be my coach that day. I think I had more fun with Coach Ford than I did with Coach Hart, because Coach Ford is younger, and I have a training partner, so we're out there having fun. But at the same time, when we get to our training, when it's time to actually start doing our workout, we become serious, we do what we need to do, and then after we have fun.
Well, Larry, you know how I feel about this. You dance with the one that brought you, and Clyde Hart has been so much a part of Jeremy Warner's success. Of course, we hope that he is able to repeat that success in 2008. But Clyde Hart was his coach during the Baylor days and through the Olympic gold medals and world championships. I hope he's made the right decision.
People were surprised. I did talk to Coach Hart about that, and he said he was surprised by the whole thing and just figured it came down to money.
Well, this guy, Clement, we don't know what his best event is. He loves running the 400 hurdles, but he's an awfully good 400-meter runner, obviously, because he broke Michael Johnson's indoor world record in the 400 meters. And he's just getting a little bit of speed work here against the best 400-meter runner in the world.
And Tyler Christensen's out there. Let's focus on Warner for a second. Jeremy is really the dominant player. I mean, he is the big guy, so to speak, and it'll be interesting to see what a guy like Clement can do.
Well, this is an excellent field. Tyler Christopher, the World Championship silver medalist back in 2005 in Helsinki. Ricardo Chambers out in lane 9. He won a photo against Lion Larry at last year's NCAA championships. Chris Brown, also a very good quarter miler. Somebody's got to finish last year, and it's going to be a good person that does so.
Keep an eye on lane 5. Tyler Christopher from Canada is the world indoor champion this past season, just a few months ago. Very fit, very focused, ranked number 4 in the world. Chris Brown also in here, number 5 in the world. So he got the number 1 guy in the hurdles, and Clement as well.
Away cleanly. Warner in 4, Clement in 6. And Warner under control. And the early lead seems to be going to Ricardo Chambers out in lane 9, as well as in lane 5. Tyler Christopher looks good from Canada.
Christopher runs hard the first 200 meters very often and holds up well. Here comes Warner around in the third 100 of this race.
That was dramatic, the way he put down the accelerator in that That's third 100, and now he's coming off the turn with a big lead. Warner really just crunching the field through that turn, but here comes Tyler Christopher back. Warner lifting nicely and always finishes strong, but Tyler Christopher starting to do the swim a little bit. Warner wins it over Christopher, and in lane 8, Chris Brown of the Bahamas, 44.42, and you know he was fighting a little bit of wind somewhere, but I thought that was dramatic. It's almost as if Coach Michael Ford said, okay, Jeremy, when you've hit the 200-meter mark, punch it, and that's exactly what he did.
Absolutely. You may have heard meet announcer Haas Davis talk about that being the second fastest time in the world this year. Watch Warner begin to move on the back stretch as he makes up ground and everybody and decides, I'm going to try and run hard this last 200 meters all the way from the 200-meter mark. Tough to do. And he accelerates cleanly. Does the Olympic champion and two-time world champion is Warner on the right of your screen. Coming down the home stretch, Christopher, pumping his arms well, does close down, but runs out of real estate. Clement is third, but he's losing that at the moment to Chris Brown of the Bahamas, closest at the bottom of your screen. And it winds up being Warner in terrific time here on a slightly windy day.
And Jeremy is downstairs with Lewis.
All right, thanks a lot. Well, Jeremy, we know you pulled out of Doha running a 200 there because of a hamstring problem. Talk to me about the philosophy of starting this 400 and then how things kicked in halfway through.
Well, being that my hamstring's been a little sore all week, got out slower than I'm used to. Had to build into it, make sure I don't pull nothing before trials.
All right, and how did you feel in the end there once the race was finished? What do you think?
You know, I felt good. My hamstring felt fine. I missed a few days of practice because of it, so gotta go back home and get ready.
And when we don't see you, what are you thinking about in terms of Beijing? What are your goals? What do you expect to accomplish once you get through the U.S. Olympic trials and then on there?
Well, if I make the team, my goals are basically to defend my title and maybe get the world record.
All right, possible world record in Beijing.
Yeah.
All right, good luck. Thanks.
Thank you.
Dwight?
All right, Lewis, thank you very much. Well, with that time, Jeremy Warner breaking his own meet record. Tyler Christopher, a very credible finish in second. Chris Brown nipping Clement for that third spot. Clement running 45.10. So a good speed workout for that great intermediate hurdler. Warner, a very good race considering the injury. Well, moments ago, Jen Stuzinski with her second attempt at a new world record height, 16 feet 5.5 inches. That plant not quite as good as her American record vault. She's got to be running out of gas a little bit. Very hot out there, and these are tough jumps at high heights with a very stiff pole.
Dwight, in the best condition of her life, her speed and down the runway is perhaps never better. Her coach, Rick Sir, and she work closely together. She is 6 feet tall, 141 pounds, to touch on what we talked about before. High center of gravity, very strong, played many sports before she found this event, really. And she's great at bench pressing. Everything about her has talent written all over for this event.
Now, the world record holder, by contrast, even though she looks tall, she's not nearly as tall as is Jen. Izimbayeva goes about 5'7" and change, but she is an incredible technician and does have great speed on the runway. Let's bring Lewis Johnson into this discussion. Who's down on the infield and can really talk about what the wind conditions are like.
Yeah, Dwight, I was over talking to her coach Rick Sir a moment ago, and he said that what they need is this wind to begin to pick up and push her like it did for that American record. He said from A to Z, she is on her technique. If they can get the wind, he thinks she can get the jump.
All right, third and final attempt at a new world record for Jen Stuzinski. And a very nice attempt of the three. That was certainly the best, but the education at this height is so good, and her second appearance over 16 feet on a new American record brings her to a new level of confidence.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say that, Dwight. Her confidence level has never been this high. She opened just a week ago at 15 feet 5 inches was her first jump. Amazing initial height in a competition to try, and that at the time was the world's best pole vault. Amazing stuff. Now, again, we're a little early for Europe, but nonetheless, that's a fine start, boy. It bodes well for her as the season progresses, as she stays healthy, her fitness level right now.
And she may actually be able to contend with Yelena Izimbayeva for that Olympic title that she would love to have. She's only been in the event for 4 years. What a meteoric rise for Jen Stuzinski. A great attempt at the world record. And let's go down to Lewis.
Win, Dwight, well, a win and an American record, but I think I detect a little bit of a disappointment on your face. Is that right?
Yes, you know, I had some good attempts at it. Actually, all three were pretty good. It just didn't turn the pole over at the end, so next time.
You know, I was talking to your coach over on the fence, and he said from A to Z, his exact words, that your technique was absolutely right on, but the wind is what you really needed. Was that the sort of key factor that helped you get that American record and maybe kept you away from the world record?
You know, I had some good wind at the American record, and then the world record, I got a little headwind on the first one, and, you know, I kind of ran out of energy at the end a little bit, so.
And when you look at the big picture and having to face the competition around the world, and especially in Beijing, how does this performance help you with that?
It's definitely a confidence builder. You know, to have a performance like this early, it's great. So.
All right, with the pole in her hand, a new American record, Jen Stuzinski. Dwight?
All right, Lewis. Well, a tremendous amount of confidence does Jen Stuzinski have. I've never seen her faster. I've never seen her with better technique. That top hand just really was in perfect position when she set that American record. Not even a hint of a brush of the bar. Her second time over that huge barrier. Well, a lot more sprinting left to come, both the women's and men's 200 meters.
I just took my twin out from Boston Market's new Tuscan chicken.
On the campus of Cal State University Dominguez Hills. Let's get you caught up on the shot put, which was contested earlier. This is Big Dan Taylor, former Ohio State star, made the World Championship team last year. His first attempt, 66, 7 3/4. He's a big guy, and this guy is an even bigger guy. Christian Cantwell, former University of Missouri star, maybe the best shot putter in history as far as size.
6'6", 330 pounds, the world indoor champion this year, and he has been pretty much the dominant guy. Hoffer's giving him trouble sometimes. Kind of a newcomer here in the scene at this level. This is Armstrong from Canada, and Dylan gets the shot out well. 67 feet 9 3/4 of an inch. He is second place at this time.
Second round, and Taylor gets back in the ring. No small kid himself at 6'6", 315. And Taylor, when he's on, he's really on, and he gets it out to 67 feet 3/4, a slight improvement, stays in second. And then here comes Adam Nelson, the 2005 world champion, last year's silver medalist behind Reese Hoffa, who is not here due to injury. And Nelson, who's had a very full plate lately, but he is serious about going back to the Olympics.
And he gets that shot out 66 feet 7 inches, just finished up his MBA work, has 2 quarters left, and says, I can focus now on Beijing and our trials.
Now, he is twice the silver medalist, is Nelson. Now, here is Christian Cantwell. This is the 4th round, and he gets out there. It says 69, 9.5, and I'm not sure where those lines are supposed to be, but Cantwell, I know, had a 70-foot throw today. And Nelson in the 3rd round. And this is about where he is oftentimes at this time of year, you know, in the sort of mid to high 60s, working on his technique. But, you know, he can turn on the shot at any moment and get a big, big throw. We saw him do it indoors. And then Cantwell, who is so strong normally even early in the spring, but has had a tough time at the Olympic trials the 2 times he's competed, not made the U.S. team. But here he finally cranks one out over the 70-foot line, 70 feet, 2 1/4 for Cantwell.
Watch exactly. He gets down, and his speed across the circle is unparalleled, and that's where he gets his power. Cantwell gets it from his upper body strength, and he is just like Hercules. The guy is so strong as Cantwell.
One more look at the winning throw, and Cantwell was just able to hold off Nelson. Nelson out at 69.4, Cantwell at 70 feet, 2 1/4. That's going to be a great competition. 3 guys. And there's going to be 5 guys for 3 spots. Cantwell wins it, the only one over 70 feet. Nelson gets second, Armstrong third, and Dan Taylor fourth. Well, still more to come, sprinting all over the place when we return.
Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to be in the corner, knock the ball.
2008 Beijing Olympic Games. No matter what it takes to live your dreams, life takes Visa. By Nissan, who invites you to shift the way you move through the world. By Nutrilite, the exclusive vitamin, mineral, and supplement brand of the 2008 Adidas Track Classic. And by Adidas, everyone takes a different road to success. Follow the road of the world's top athletes on their way to Beijing at roadstobeijing.com. We're live, and we promised you that we would see Tyson Gay running 200 meters, but let's flash back to that 100-meter race earlier, won by Tyson Gay.
Dwight, it looked to me like a little bit of a struggle for him today. It didn't look as flashy. Top-end speed, I think, is the best in the world. It didn't quite show here. Doc Patton ran him dead even through most of the race, especially in the last half. And Gay eked it out with his excellent 200-meter straight.
But we are ready now for the Visa men's 200 meters. Meet record held by Wallace Spearman, and Tyson Gay has the best time in the world in 2008, and he will be starting out of lane 6.
20 seconds flat he ran, and that was down at the Jamaica Invitational just over a week ago. And he got down last year to 1962 at the World Indoor Championship, so you can see that little margin of improvement. This guy is another scary guy for sprinters. This is the X-Man, Xavier Carter, and went through some injuries last year, but a tremendous talent at this distance.
Well, the last time I saw him, he was flat on his stomach, having a cramp at the U.S. Nationals. And here's how they will line up. Rodney Martin is one to watch in lane 4, Gay in 6, X-Man in 7. I will tell you that the women's race was won by Moona Lee in a world-leading time of 22.30. Moona Lee, a finalist in Athens in the 200 meters, where she finished 7th. So she is right on track to make a repeat or a return performance in Beijing. But now all eyes on Tyson Gay. I'm sure he's going to want to show us something after that 100, which he's probably a little disappointed in. Show us what he can do in the 200 meters.
Tell you, this guy holds them a long time,
and they don't like it. And we've had a lot of false starts this afternoon, which is unfortunate really for everyone, us, the crowd, and of course the athletes.
All you're talking here is a split second. You're talking hundredths of a second to get the gun out faster, in my opinion. Yeah, that was the outside.
Omar Brown guilty of the false start, but it's no matter. Now there's a false start on the entire field. It's tough running out there in lane 9 with nobody to key off of. So resetting, Tyson Gay is in lane 6, Rodney Martin in 4, gets to draw off of him, and Tyson Gay runs the turn awfully well. And then the X-Man out in lane 7.
Worst false starts I've ever seen in a meet in terms of numbers and what's going on. Worst. Got to correct it.
Hear that wind whipping up.
And that wind is going to help them around this turn for sure. It's going to blast guys around the turn, and then they're going to have to cope with it a little bit down the home stretch.
And Gay is burning the turn. Tyson Gay comes off the turn first by a long way. Now let's see if he can hold it. X-Man is trying to gain some ground, but it's not looking sort of good. Tyson Gay, Xavier Carter, Rodney Martin trying to hold on, and as Tyson Gay easily across the line in 20.07, eased up.
Second fastest time in the world, Dwight. He's got the first, and he definitely probably could have, I say definitely, I think he could have got 19.9 something if he had just run through the tape.
They've corrected it to 20.08. We are waiting for the wind on that.
He runs the turns extraordinarily well, does Gay. He gets out there with courage, he blasts it, and then the goal is to hold on. Wallace Spearman has said often, I have trouble sometimes trying to max out the 200s, and he can learn from the way Tyson does this. He burns the turn really hard, and look at him. He's got a step or two on everybody, and then he relies on his training and his fitness and his form, and he holds together well. Look at the arm action. It's superb, upright, running extraordinarily well. And here, with 5, 6, 7 steps to go, he just eases back.
And wow. It's a -0.17 headwind, about a 4-mile-an-hour